we have an inferior man problem. You're going to see men get so mad that I'm putting this out there. This is not a gender problem. This is a type of person that when they are confronted with the reality of the deficiencies, they become angry or disconnected, both. All right. They'll have a negative, dysfunctional reaction. Rather than integrating the information, they will reject it. You are just as bad as those types of women. And we are going to separate those men and women from us. We're going to separate.
Hey y'all, welcome to Boundaries and Grace.
Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Taylor Chandler. This is Boundaries and Grace. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist helping people break negative relationship patterns. And now, I guess because of the nature of the content, I should also say I'm a certified personal trainer, certified health coach, and certified fitness nutrition specialist. Today, we are talking about the inferior man. Let's get into it. And y'all, here is that printed copy I was talking about. This is July 2017. It's been a while since I've been at this. There it is, right there. I'm excited for this episode, y'all. I feel very energized. I'm really excited. This is going to be really good. This is called The Inferior Man. Thank you so much. You noticed the Tom Fords. Did you notice that? I had these too. Well, mine, but they didn't look. I want to show y'all. They didn't look. It didn't give me the right. It just didn't. I love these frames, but not for today. Not for today. That's something I will spend some money on, are some frames. Okay, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do today. We're talking about the inferior man. All right. Now, y'all, of course, with my recent content, a lot of people have made a lot of assumptions. I went up, by the way, shout out to y'all. I went up about 10,000 followers in 10 days. So I'm getting a whole lot of stuff. Okay. I'm getting a lot of DMs, getting a lot of comments. And because of the nature of my last two episodes in particular, called The Last Train Out, Last Appeals to Women, Part 1 and Part 2, there have been some assumptions about my alignment in terms of who am I for? Well, let's set the record straight. I'm for reasonable people. The goal, y'all, right now, let me tell you what we're doing here. We're drawing some very clear distinctions between who is who. Who's this and who's that? Okay, who's going in this direction and who's going in that direction? Because of my last two episodes and the popularity of the reels, which is cool, but it's not the whole picture. So today we're going to talk about the male side. Yeah, some people are out here now. You just found me in the last week. And you're like, Taylor's getting the degenerate women. Like, go get them. I'm coming for the degenerate men today. Let's get the men today. Y'all are going to see the bigger picture as we go through this, okay? But we're going to specifically talk about the inferior man, because I am very aware that every man especially that just found me in the last week or two, is not the kind of man that we can actually progress with, is not the kind of man that we can actually build with. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, y'all, this is going to be so important to address this first. I got 5 points for you. For those of you who are on my wavelength, okay, you've tapped in, you see the vision, you see the bigger picture. I have 5 points for you before we get into the 5 points of the inferior man. Is that okay? Can we do that first? This is a season of drawing clear lines between who is who can progress, and who is dragging us down. We are not in a gender war. I repeat, we are not in a gender war. There are men and women who are aligned with high values and character. Do you hear me? We are not in a gender war. That's a silly way to look at what we got going on. That's a very basic way. That's what they want you to think. I'm not even going to get into what that meant. That's what they want you to think. We are not in a gender war. There are men and women. Somebody say hallelujah. We're having church on this Saturday. There are men and women who are aligned with high values and high character. Somebody say amen. My goal is to make it so clear as to who those men and women are based on their values and characteristics. Then the next phase, come on, we're in phases now. Right now we're in phase one. Somebody say phase one. Then the next phase is to bring you all together for individual, relational, and familial development in ascending order. Y'all, your individual development is the bottom floor. Come on, I feel like, dude, I'm in church. But the church that actually helps. Come on. Oh, I can't. I'm too excited. This is going to be too good. Your individual development is the bottom floor. Your relational development is a floor above. It's like when you graduated from middle school to high school, you're now back at the bottom. You've got another level of development. And then we've got familial and communal development. Hello? So we're in phase one. Right now, we're just defining the problem. We got to figure out who's who. Right now, everybody's all mixed together, and we need to make some clear separations. Right now, we're in phase one. I got 5 tips, come here, for those of you who are getting on this last train out. This is the last train out. We got to go. I don't know if you heard the last 2 episodes. It's time for us to move on. We got to move past some of these conversations that are keeping you in a spot. You've noticed, right? You've noticed how some of those conversations just seem to go roundabout. Yeah, we need to move forward. Okay, it's like when you in a real roundabout, when you drive in, you got to pick a turn and you got to go. All right. So I'm going to give 5 tips for those of you who are getting on this last train out. That's not everybody. Some people are just listening and they're really not trying to go anywhere. Number 1, people on the sidelines will cheer and jeer. People on the sidelines will cheer and jeer. Hear me. Do not get distracted. People on the sidelines ain't doing nothing. Do not get distracted in your own life. Don't get distracted by these comments on Instagram. Do not get distracted. Stay focused. This is a mirror maze. But when you know what the truth is, I feel like I feel like preaching in this church. When you know what the truth is, and when you know what the vision is, and when you know your target, the mirror maze won't get you. Come here now. The mirror maze can't trick you. You can't make me believe that you're the real one. You can't make me believe it. Stay focused. Stay focused. Do not get distracted. I feel like this is a word for somebody today. Number 2, if you are in a back and forth with someone about these kinds of issues, because we can talk about a whole bunch of issues. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm a health coach. I'm a personal trainer. I'm health and wellness. So we're in the social and cultural. I'm in the social and cultural context. I'm in the social and cultural lane with relationships. Okay. I'm in holistic health and wellness. Hello. So side note, I'm not fixing every problem. I'm not fixing every issue. Y'all in the comments talk about this, talk about that. I'm responsible. I only talk about what I know. Hello. I'm not going all over the place. This is my lane. This is my lane. That was a side note. Okay. Hear me. Number 2, if you are in a back and forth with someone about these kinds of issues that we're going to highlight today and going forward and have been, okay. I didn't just get here. You might've just got here. I've been here. If you are in a back and forth with someone about these kinds of issues and someone cannot see the validity in what you're saying, understand this. You don't have to agree on everything. Sometimes it really is an agree to disagree. But listen, if someone can't even see the validity, and if you're aligned with the vision and values that I'm addressing this season, and you're in a back and forth with someone in your real life and in the comments about these kinds of issues, and that person cannot even acknowledge the validity in what you're saying, you don't have to agree, but they can't even acknowledge the validity, okay, in what you're saying, in these viewpoints, in these values. If they can't even see the validity in it, drop it and move on. Do not be deterred and do not be discouraged, okay? We are not all the same. I made the episode a couple of weeks ago called For the Love of Money. There was a bit in that was so good, y'all. And what it was it said this, we said this, I said this, I said this, came through me. That's kind of what happens sometimes when I'm doing these podcasts. Everybody's got a North Star. Everybody's North Star is not the same. Okay? So some people are trying to point you in a direction you're not trying to go. I'm going to leave that right there where it's at. Do not be deterred. Do not be discouraged. Number 3, stay aligned with the mission. Somebody drop it in the comments right now. Stay aligned with the mission. Do something every day that supports the mission. Now, you have your own personal individual life goals. Now, my mission, I'm in marriage and family. My mission is marriage and family. My mission is self-development to relational development to familial development. That's the mission, that's the vision, that's the goal. Now, what you want that to look like in your life are your individual goals. But in this overarching goal, if that's in alignment with you, stay aligned with the mission. Do something every day that supports the mission. Individual development is important, but I want you to start thinking relationally. You hear me. You are not alone. You are not alone. Okay? What's going on out in the world can make you feel like you the only one that cares about these things, that sees these things for what it is, because you feel like the minority. You're not alone. So listen, I want you to consider doing something every day that aligns with the mission, that supports the mission. What you're doing individually is cool, is great. That's the bottom floor. I want you to start thinking relationally. Tap into the social media stuff. Tap in, share something. We're creating communities where it's gonna be more concentrated interaction. But for now, just do what you can. Don't just do something for you. Do something that connects with somebody else. All right. Do something that's connecting with other people who are aligned with this mission. Share something, like something, comment on something, do something until we get these communities up and going for you. Is that okay? Does that make sense, y'all? No, don't just do it. Don't just stay individual, living in your own head. Start tapping in. Are y'all with me so far? We have 2 more things and then we'll get on to the inferior man. Let's keep going. Number 4, you get what you pay for. If you want someone to overhaul your life, your mindset, your results, you pay for that. Highlighting, I don't even want to get into how poor of a mindset you have to think that things should be handed to you. A handout. Some of y'all are just used to people around you getting handouts. I don't know if it was your family, if it was your community, the school you were in, you were used to getting handouts. It's a poor mindset. Understand this, you get what you pay for. So if you keep expecting handouts, you want handouts, you're going to stay poor. You're going to get something, stay poor. You need to stop. You need to stop that. You get what you pay for. Listen, I want you to understand this concept that I want to lay out for you in a different episode, but I'm going to give you a little here, okay? We got low tier people, we got mid tier, we have high tier. We've got economy class, low tier. We've got main cabin. We've got mid tier. We've got high tier, first class. Economy, see, I can't even do economy. I can't do it. I cannot do it. Not physically. Sitting in that economy seat, I can't do it. Not mentally thinking on the bottom tier, I can't do it. Not emotionally feeling on the bottom tier, I cannot do it. We got economy people who are looking to get to the destination at the lowest possible price. And you're going to get what you paid for. These are people who want to believe they're doing something. I don't want to get into all the details of this frame. I want to do that in a different episode for you. Economy, the economy seaters, yeah, you want to think you're doing what the first class people are doing. But Coco is the choir today. Coco, we're working here. But really, economy people, they live in their heads. Economy people live in their heads. Economy people want to get where they're going at the lowest possible price. You're an uncomfortable group. You're an uncomfortable group. Not a lot of space with that group. Not a lot of currency in that group. I don't want to insult you because I know we're sensitive out here today. We got economy people at the bottom. You want the most for nothing. Okay, that's why they the have you been first class? First class tickets, you get snacks other people don't get. Unlimited. I'm talking about they hand you the basket. You want the basket of snacks? They're gonna hand it to you. You are in control. How many snacks do you want? When you're back in economy, you have to damn beg. Can I please have two? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Can I get another thing of crackers, please? You scared. You scared in economy to even ask for two. You like, they're like, they actually listen to how they talk to you in economy. They say you want this or that. Don't even think about doubling it up. They say, do you want the pretzel or do you want the peanuts? Don't even think about said don't even think about it. And then when you're like, can I get both? You might as well just slam it on your damn that little 2-inch tray that's coming out. Every movement the person makes in front of you, you like trying to get your stuff together. It's an uncomfortable position to be in. It's an uncomfortable position. Now you go, Maine, you're going to get a little bit better. It's really not a big jump in Maine. Okay. You need to go first class mentally. I encourage you to go first class physically. Raise your standards, damn it. Get up there. Get up there and see the difference. Get up there mentally. Get up there emotionally. Economy's at the bottom. They want to think. You see, the thing is, you are all in the same vehicle. We all are living this life, navigating this reality together, but we're getting very different experiences on the way there. Somebody stopped me today before I have church. Main cabin, the main cabin, those are people who want to do some things, but not everything. They want to do some things, but not everything. They take a step forward because they know it's right, but they lack commitment. They lack intensity. They lack momentum. They want to do some things. Yeah, a little bit. They'll do a little bit here and there, but they're not like the first class people. They're not like the higher tier people. And I want you to understand, y'all, everyone that's in this chat, everyone that's on this page, everyone that's in the comments, it's different tiers of people. Do not be confused. One of the things that we're doing is making some distinctions between the groups because everybody's all mixed up together in real life and on the internet. And you need to be able to make these distinctions. First class people, these are people who make whole lifestyle changes. You embody high ideals. You don't just talk about it. You don't just debate online. You embody it. So we have different tiers of people. So listen, this was the point on point 4. You get what you paid for. If you want a first class experience, you embody that. You don't just talk about it. You don't just learn about it. You don't just read about it. You don't just hear about it. You become it. Not everybody, remember, somebody said it earlier, first class is about 12. First class is the smallest group. It's going to be the smallest number of people that are willing to make that kind of lifestyle change, that are willing to be that intense and that committed. The first class people are, I will do anything. That's not a lot of people. It sounds good. Economy people want to think that they're like that, but they're not like that. And we see it in their experience and we see it in their results. Okay, first class, high tier people, it's I will do anything because I embody this. I leave no parts of it out. It is me. I don't just think about it or talk about it. I become it. I am that. You have different types of people. And first class is always the smallest group. It's always the minority of people. One of the best things you can do for yourself instead of judging everybody else, being like, well, what are you, first or mid? How about check you out? What are you doing? What are you doing? Where do you sit? Because a lot of people want to think some people main, You doing a little something, but you really are holding on to old habits, old people, old behaviors, old mindsets. You got things. Somebody just said in the chat, and I don't want to call you out. Yes, I do. Somebody said in the chat, I'll only do first class if I won't even do it by myself. You're limited. You're limited. We got people who are in Maine because they won't even free their mind to see what they could do on their own, even with nobody comes with them. That's a word for somebody right there. Let's keep moving. Number five. Number five, y'all, if you're on this wavelength, here's the thing. It looks crazy out there. You need to stay positive and hopeful. Somebody put it in the chat. Stay positive, stay hopeful. We're talking about problems right now. It's important because we have to call the things what it is. We have to know, what is this monster in the closet? We can't just be like, it's something in there. You got to open it up and look at it, be able to define it, be able to see it, call it what it is. We have to talk about the problems, but as we're doing it, stay positive and hopeful. I want you to be able to be optimistic and realistic. Optimistic and realistic. We got to be real. We have to be able to see the obstacles, challenges, struggles. We have to be able to call that what it is. Okay? So that you can handle it for what it is. If you want to overcome the obstacle, you can't just say it doesn't exist. You have to know what it is so that you know how to meet it and manage it and overcome it. Okay? So you can be realistic and optimistic. Okay, these things are not mutually exclusive. You know, people, well, why are you talking about the problems? Oh, this is so negative. The hell? Oh, I'm not blind. I'm not dumb. It's an act of cowardice to act like, to be like, we can't talk about it. I can talk about it because I can deal with it. I can talk about it because I can manage it. I can talk about it because I fix this thing every single day. I can talk about it because I'm not scared of it. All right, are we ready to move on? The inferior man is a drag in society. There are different types of men, just like there are different types of women. That's why this whole gender war thing is so silly. It's so simple. It's so simplistic because there are different types of people. Recently, since I started talking about certain topics in a more direct way, honestly, in a more authentic way, if we're going to be totally real, I've never felt more like myself on the internet in these last 2 weeks, and it shows. Recently, since I started talking about certain topics, many men have found it enjoyable. Why? Because I was calling out women. I had 2 episodes called The Last Train Out, Last Final Appeals to Women. I talked about body, attitude, marriage, and divorce. Men are loving it. But I know there is a huge chunk of people who love that kind of content, that frame, that vantage point, who are just complainers and they lack accountability. There are men who want to indulge the drama of the gender wars. These are men who want to feel right, looking for comfort, but not looking for change, because in order for real change to happen in their lives, they would have to change themselves. And one of the best things the internet did, best and worst, one of the best things the internet did was radicalize men. They made it a dichotomous argument. You're good and she's bad. And there are men who want to indulge that kind of rhetoric, that kind of faulty thinking. It helps to protect the ego. I don't even want to get into why all the actually do, but it's a different episode that we're going to do that on. We're going to talk about, I'm not even going to say what it is because it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. This is already going to be problematic enough. Let me save some things. You know, in order for real change to happen in your life, you would have to change themselves. You have to change yourself. And so some men, like the inferior man, wants to believe that they don't have to change, that other people have to change, and they reject the idea that the change actually starts with himself. My goal here, y'all, is to make distinctions between these types of men and the productive, higher value, higher character men and women. The inferior man, oh, look, I wrote it in the notes. The inferior man is just as bad as the woman who lacks accountability, who deflects responsibility, who is a victim, a drain, and a leech. These men and women should be with each other, and the higher character people should be with each other. Let's keep going. 5 markers of the inferior man. 5 markers of the inferior man. Are we ready? We just got 5 of them. Couldn't possibly take that long. Number 1, a bad attitude. Number 1, a bad attitude. The inferior man is apathetic, has a victim mentality. These people are they're hopeless types. They're hands up. There's something in psychology called learned helplessness, where you essentially develop a mind that says, I can't, to put it very simply. And so whenever you're faced with a challenge, whenever you have a confrontation, you lack resiliency, it's hands up. You just kind of you noodle over. You just noodle over. You learned helplessness. I figure I can't, I feel like I can't, and so I can't, and so I won't. Okay, these people are apathetic, victim mentality, always blaming someone else for your negative state or outcomes. A supervisor is out to get you, or it's the system, or your parents, or your wife, or women in general. Somebody is out to get you. It reminds me of, I really don't want to do this, but I'm going to say it. It reminds me of Christians who are always talking about the damn devil. This kind of mentality exists with men, exists with women, it exists in all contexts. Always talking about the devil. The devil stopping, the devil did, but what about you? It's always you. I can't even do that today. I'm not even going to do that. I cannot. So these people are always blaming somebody else for your negative state or outcomes. It's a supervisor out to get you, the system, your parents, or your wife. The same way that women, y'all go through the comments on the BMI stuff, on the obesity stuff. It's the system. The BMI is racist. Men do the same stuff. They just they just talk about different systems. It's always a system keeping you down, or your parents or your wife. Listen, hear me, because somebody is going to miss this next part on freaking purpose. Y'all lucky I got a hold of my tongue. Any of those things could be negatively impacting you. Did you hear me? I just validated you. Let me just say it very clearly. I'm validating that it very well could be a legal system. It very well could be factoring in muscle density in the BMI, but we know there aren't a bunch of black women walking around with a bunch of muscles skewing the data on the BMI measurements. But so anyway, it really could be what your parents did or didn't do. It really could be your out of line wife, girlfriend, or whatever. All of these things could absolutely be impacting you. The issue is you allow it to determine your fate, determine your outcomes. Anything could be negatively impacting you, but you allow it to determine your state of being. You allow it to determine where you can go or not go. You allow it to limit you. And that's the problem. You play into the system when you are a victim to the system. When your mentality tells you that you are a victim and you agree and you live like that, behave like that, you're aligned with that identity, it will be your fate. Come on, y'all. We should have been learned this. I'm not even gonna go down that road. Because I know I am gonna just say this. I'm just gonna say this, y'all. I'm gonna say this. This should have been learned. I understand anybody can come in on this and make this your day one, and I'm proud of you for doing that. But it's very weird and concerning that so many grown men were first introduced to improvement by Kevin Samuels. That is absolutely, you should be concerned. So when I hear, well, Kevin Samuels told you, you know what I'm thinking? Where was your father? Where was your mother? Where was your family? You just found out you mattered. That is highly concerning. And I'm so glad that you found out. I'm so glad that you found out. I'm so glad that somebody told you. That should have been this stuff about attitude should have been you should have been learned this. This stuff about your physical health, you should have been learned that. So I find it incredibly concerning that a whole bunch of grown men first heard about self-esteem and how much you mattered from a man on the internet. I am glad that he told you and that he gave you a sense of yourself. I am so concerned and I am upset that that was for so many people your first contact. So when I hear that, I think good and bad. I think, oh, you should be telling me my father told me this. My mother. People say things like, I see the comments, men been saying this. I'm like, your mother couldn't think? And I don't mean to be insulting. I promise you I don't. I am seriously concerned about that. Talking about men have been saying this. I'm like, my mother told me this. My father told me this. It's really strange. Again, I understand and I'm glad that people are able to tap into this kind of information and understand that is a major issue that you're going to the internet to be raised into adults. So yes, I'm on the internet. I'm helping to do it too. I'm helping people to do it too. But my goal is for you to do it for your family, for you to do it, for you to be essentially me for you to be equipped to do this in your relationship, for you to be equipped to do this in your family. I don't want people to just send these YouTube videos to people in their life. I want you to be that person in their life. It should be very concerning that anyway. Number 3. No, wait, that was only number 1. The inferior man has a bad attitude, apathetic and victim, just as bad as the women who do it. Just as bad as the women who do it. Number 2, the inferior man, out of shape. The inferior man's it's a marker. This isn't every single inferior. The inferior man, one marker of the inferior man, out of shape. There's a lot of self-esteem linked up in that. When you don't take care of the body that you walk around in every day, out of shape. And just a side note, skinny guys aren't necessarily healthy guys. Skinny doesn't mean healthy. And big doesn't mean unhealthy. I guess I needed to say that for the record. It's just, one data point doesn't necessarily mean anything. Okay? Now we can say sometimes we can just look at you though. Let's not take that too far. Sometimes we can just look at you and say, I can tell it's been a while since you've been on that treadmill. I could tell. And I don't need you to get on a scale for that. I don't need to wrap a tape measurement around you for that. We could tell in your breathing. We could tell. Y'all know what that sound like. We could tell. About, well, the BMI is made for white people. Well, I don't think I need to. Some of y'all, we don't even have to do all of that. We don't even have to do that. You could do a push-up test right now. I could tell. Run around the block. Let's see. That's a test right there. Just look at somebody and say, run around the block right now. And see what happens. Just see what happens on their face. Terror. Or pissed. Are they angry? What do you mean? Run around the block right now. Yeah, that's a test right there. That's a test. Give me 20 sit-ups. 20 sit-ups right now. 20 sit-ups right now. That's a test. You don't want white measurement? You don't want white man metrics? Fine. I don't need them. Trust me, I don't need them. Come here and I'll help you to see exactly what category you about fall in. Not okay, above average, excellent. I can put you in a category. I don't need a chart for that. I don't need a chart. If you hooked up to a sleep machine, you're in the not good category. You're not good. If you got to take the elevator everywhere you go, not good. Okay. If every time you go to the restaurant, there is never anything to take back home, probably below average. Those portion sizes are way too big. And you know what? I'm gonna give you a tip since everybody's like, well, give us some solutions. And y'all, I haven't talked to y'all in a day in your life, and you want me to give you everything for free. But here we go. Next time you go to the restaurant, when you order the food, and here's a test right here. When you order the food, tell the server, take half. I'm laughing because I know that they won't do it. I know people won't do it. I know 90% of the people who need to do this won't do it. This is a test right here. Let's see how serious you are. Talking about you want a solution. Here go a solution right here. Tell the server, take half of what y'all gonna put in that on that plate, box it up, and put it in a bag. Don't bring it out until we get the check. Suggest that to somebody that's overweight, and you're gonna see how serious they are. You're gonna see. I don't need a BMI chart. I don't need a BMI chart. I could tell. I can tell. I got a couple different tests. A couple different tests that work for Black, white, Asian, all of y'all. A couple different tests. Let's keep going, y'all. Out of shape. What comes over me in the this is the inferior man, out of shape. You're not taking care of the vessel that you live in. You avoid lifting or cardio or both. Everybody needs to be doing strength training, y'all. We could talk about that another time. But an inferior men, you don't care for your body. You're sloppy. The way you care for yourself really does matter, okay? How you feel on the inside really does show up on the outside. Not to mention the way that people interact with you when you care for yourself. It matters. It's helpful. When people feel like you take care of yourself, they take care of you better. When people feel like I gotta say it to them, when people feel like you care for yourself, they take care of you better. Some of y'all living in a fantasy land like, well, I think everybody should just treat me well because I'm a person. Honestly, we just have to move around you at this point. People like that live in some type of fantasy world that want people to just hand out people, right? Poor. We talked about this, y'all. Poor. I should just get this just because. Poor. You don't feel like you got to show up in any kind of way to get something. Poor. You're poor. I know that reel right there is not gonna go. That reel, and sometimes I can just hear it. That one's not gonna go well. Okay, poor. You show up better, you get better results. Come on. So don't be sloppy. These guys, haircuts, y'all, haircuts, hygiene, it matters. Your environment, your house, little things, y'all, little things. For example, you can just have little stuff in your house to just make it a little bit better, gentlemen. Like the sponges, they don't need to be all around the sink. Get a little sponge holder. It's little stuff like that. In the bathroom, like get little containers for stuff. Like just clean up your stuff. Your mattress at this point, if you are out of college age, you need a whole bed. I don't want to hear any excuses. You need a whole bed. That mattress should not be on the floor. That mattress should not be on the floor. You need a bed frame, headboard. Okay? I'm serious. You should not just be sleeping with blankets on your bed, sir. You should not just be sleeping with blankets on your bed. It looks sad. Y'all look so sad. The red sheet, y'all got like these like red sheets and blankets on the bed. It's just not attractive. It's not appealing. Get real comforter. A real comforter. Not these blankets on the bed. See, look, he said my woman made fun of me for my red comforter. 5 markers of the inferior man. This is number 3. You're an enabler of bad behavior. You lack standards and accountability for yourself and others. You are undisciplined and allow others to be close to you who are the same. You are accommodating to a fault. You're so nice, so no one ever has an issue with you. You're a great employee. And for some aggressive and domineering women, you are a great spouse on one hand. You're a great spouse on one hand because she's going to be able to do whatever she wants to do, passive. She's going to be able to do whatever she wants to do. But on the other hand, she doesn't respect you. Women who can just run men can stay with you for whatever benefits and rewards they feel like they can get out of you, but they will not respect you. And the inferior man lacks such self-esteem that he will put up with the disrespect in exchange for company, no matter how bad the company is. He lacks such self-esteem that in his discomfort, he finds ways to cope, like repressing how uncomfortable, how painful, how disturbing, how sickening, it is to be treated that way. But he lacks such self-esteem that he doesn't speak up about it. Maybe he speaks up about it, but takes no action to do anything about it. Action like setting boundaries, action like, in some cases, leaving. She'll show you that she doesn't respect you. She might do it in minor ways or major ways. We have 2 more points after this. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about where these guys come from. I'm going to give you a little bit about a solution, okay? The inferior man enables bad behavior. He accepts dominating women, okay? Dominating women or aggressive women, women who are, they lack relational skill or depth. Okay, there's not an emotional attachment. It's a transaction. It's a functional attachment. Maybe you're like sharing bills, or you're paying the bills, and you're paying the bills, that's helping her like function or something, or maybe you're helping with her kids, but there's not an emotional, relational attachment together. You're together but not attached. When we're talking about attached, there is an intimacy, there's trust, vulnerability, okay? There's an intimacy there. People can be together but not emotionally attached. And women who are with men who enable bad behavior are not emotionally attached. They are functionally attached. There's something that I'm getting out of you. We are trading services. Oh my goodness. So men like this, you'll accept a dominating woman, or hear this, or you don't accept women at all. This is the incel. This is the incel. This is the involuntarily celibate. I'm not talking about what you're doing spiritually, religiously. I'm not doing that today. This is the extreme where he's not even in relationship with any kind of women. He has opted out. Okay, he has opted out, or he is disallowed. He is denied access to women by women. They won't even take him on. He serves like no functional purpose in their life. This is the incel, right? These are the guys who are warding off all women, warding them off. They're like, I can't even do it. These women are evil. These women are going to take everything from me. I cannot. They don't have enough of a self-concept. They don't have enough sense of themselves. They feel invisible to women. They feel helpless when with a woman. So Coco, come on, babe. We're almost there. They feel invisible against a woman, so they just like disconnect from women altogether. These are the incels. They've enabled so much bad behavior, they don't know how to stop it. They don't know how to stop the bad behavior. They don't know how to put boundaries in place. They don't know how to speak up. They just totally get out the game altogether. Okay? I don't want to go too hard on that one because I know they're a very sensitive group. You want to talk about sensitive women? The incel group, all right, fine, I'll say it. The incel group is so angry. They're so angry. They're so angry because this one thing. Oh my gosh, I should not say this. Yes, I should. Yes, I should. They are denied this major aspect of masculinity, which is sexual relationship with women. Okay. And when they're denied it for so long, and when they're denied it so intensely, that rejection turns inward. I feel so bad about myself. I'm so ashamed of who I am as a man. And then it comes back outward. So it came to them. I internalized it. I felt it about me. And now I become angry at you. These are very, very angry men. Did you hear what I said? The rejection comes towards them. It's intense. It's there's a lot of it. It's voluminous. It's almost all the time. And I got so much of it. I turn it in. It becomes shame about me, even guilt of who I didn't become, guilt about decisions I've made or didn't make. All this rejection came towards me. I turn it inward. And then the pressure has built, and now I'm exploding outward. These are angry men. It's interesting. Men do the same stuff women do. Like when I look up in the comments, it's like there's men that don't get rejected who opt out. I'm one of them. It's better to not deal with the quality of women that's mainly available. It's like they hate, like there's a group of people that just hate when the spotlight is like on their group. You're so identified, your identity matters so much to you. Like I'm a man, I'm a woman, that whenever we talk about men or women, it's like you just can't, it's like you can't hear the negative stuff. It's like no, but it's not me. You do the same stuff that women do, but then when women do it, it's a problem. Like, but you don't think you're a problem. Like y'all, all of y'all are my problem. Like all people like this are my problem. They really are. Just detractors from like you can't have a whole conversation. Like we can't get full conversations out. Two things I want to point out. Number one, when you are in real life with people who can't just stick to the point, you can't get through a whole conversation. You can't excavate the problem because they keep deflecting away from it, usually to protect their own ego. So we can't even excavate the whole problem because they won't spend enough time looking at it. Okay? And when you're in real life with that kind of thing, you end up like they keep trying to take you away, and you keep trying, and it's a waste of time. It is such a waste of time and energy. It's like if someone can't stick to the point, you can talk for 30 minutes in a circle because they just won't excavate the issue to the depth it needs to be even understood. I'm addressing this stuff because these are examples. It's like we want to go to Chicago. Well, what about Minneapolis? Well, what about Kansas City? Well, what about New York? Well, what about the people who want to go south to Florida? We're going to Chicago. And then they take you all around the block, and then people get tired, and it's like, well, what were we even talking about? So I just want, hey, Rodney, I just want y'all to see the play. I just want y'all to see the play and start to notice that. Now, the second thing I want to say about that is where we're getting in this work, right? We say we're phase 1 right now. We got to go to phase 2. We got to go to phase 3. We got to go to phase 4. We're in phase 1 right now. Right now, this is where I'm really taking the time to even address detractors, distractions, because I want you to see it. Okay? But going forward, I promise you next season, I promise you, like going forward, thank you. Going forward, we're just going. We're just going. And if you want to, and if we're going to New York and you want to go to Cali, you go. You go. We're going here. Okay. Now, if you don't like that, like if you like people who are always talking about every other thing to talk about in infinite, all these infinite possibilities of what it could be, if that's what you want to do, you have to find somebody else. It's not going to be, you could be like, Taylor's got what I need, but I want to do this. Well, you do that somewhere else. You have to do that somewhere else. I'm not doing what everybody else wants to do and everybody else want to talk about. Okay. Because a lot of times it's people who really don't got like you got to be qualified to suggest, you got to be make qualified suggestions. Anyway, let's move on. Somebody gonna get very upset about that when they hear that, but anyway. Number 4, the inferior man lacks purpose and mission. The inferior man lacks purpose and mission. Can somebody drop that in the chat? This person, this man is floating, lost, aimless. That doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of ideas. The inferior man is a dreamer, not a doer. Okay? I like this distinction that's made between people who dream and people who have vision. Dreamers are like in fantasy. People who have vision work towards it. You build a foundation, and then you build strategy, and then you build pillars, and then you build a house. People that dream just think about it. Okay? The inferior man is a dreamer. Lacking purpose and vision, might have a lot of ideas, but doesn't have any idea how to get there. These people are often like, because ideally you get some semblance of this from your family at the beginning. So these people, you might find them often looking for parental figures, mothers or fathers online, because now we have a pool of people online to choose from, looking for parental figures online, especially, but also even in your real life. But the online is just it's a pool. It's like a dating app for parental figures. I don't even know. I might need to talk about that another time. It's like you can kind of scroll. You can find your mother, find your father. Why am I pointing that out? Because we get our aim, we get our compass, we get our sense of a North Star first from family, from the people who are closest, specifically your parents. And so when you don't have that, you end up being floating, aimless, lost. Men in particular who are that way are especially dangerous because the masculine is directed, directive, purposeful, mission-oriented, task-oriented. He's a doer, a builder, but when he doesn't know what he is building, he is a destructive force. He is a destructive force. A man without purpose is not the same as a woman without purpose. Now, women have purpose. I'm in my purpose right now. Me without purpose is not nearly as destructive as my man without it. Not at all. See, because I'm just not really gonna do too much. I'm just gonna be like sitting around. I'll be on a jet ski. He knows if I was not doing my purpose for real, he knows this. I would be renting out jet skis on the beach, selling smoothies. That I promise you, that is exactly what I would be doing right now. Okay? That's not too bad. That's not too much of a problem. Okay? That's not too bad. That's really leisurely. All right? A man without purpose is a destructive force. Okay? And a man without purpose, now we got a bunch of men on the internet that are radicalizing men without purpose. They said, oh, you don't know what you're supposed to be doing? I will tell you. I'll tell you. And then you end up serving his purpose rather than your own. That's a word for somebody right now. Understand this. Your parents don't give you purpose. They ideally help to give you a North Star. They instill values. Ideally, they're the higher ones. Ideally, they're aligned with the nature of God. That's the most ideal. Okay? But parents don't give you purpose. Your purpose comes from God or whatever you want to call God. I am not telling you what to call God. Purpose comes from God. This is a spiritual, call it a calling, call it a purpose, call it a mission, call it a path. I don't care what you call it. We're talking about the same thing. Your purpose exists outside of your parents. Your parents don't put your purpose in you. Ideally, they help to facilitate it, or at least they don't get in the way. But your purpose exists outside of your circumstances. Regardless of your circumstances, your purpose exists. You don't need a parent to give you a purpose. You don't need a parent to give you a purpose. But when you don't know that, you go looking for a parent to tell you what your purpose is. And there are people who are predatory, men and women, who will prey on your unknowing, not just not knowing who you are, but not knowing how to figure that out. And then you'll end up serving their purpose. All right. Y'all, this is a very layered conversation here. But the point number 4, the inferior man lacks purpose and mission. He's floating, he's lost, he's aimless. Being plugged into your purpose, that's actually the word. You're plugged in. You're being sourced. You're plugged in. You're being energized by what you do. Your work is no longer work. It's your embodiment. Like right now, I'm really just being myself. When your purpose is your work is your purpose, you are energized by the work. When a woman's not plugged into her purpose, it's usually not a big deal. Honestly, it's usually not a big deal. Quote me on that. It's usually not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal. She just needs to be scooped up with somebody that got a purpose and get on his program, and she gonna be all right. She really gonna be okay. If he don't have to be doing anything in particular. He just needs to have a plan, and she's gonna be all right. Right? In general, a man not plugged into his purpose can be volatile, destructive, explosive. He breaks things, or he becomes disconnected. He's not plugged into his source. So it's like he's powered down. He's snipped, if you know what I'm saying. He's snipped. I hate to say it, guys. When men are snipped, all right, they become powered down. So you're not actively destructive. You destroy yourself. You don't have traction, momentum. You're not moving forward. You're powered down. The inferior man lacks purpose and mission. Number 5, the inferior man, this is the last one. This is the last one, y'all. You're welcome. Last one. The inferior man rejects femininity. Now, we talked a little bit about this with the incels. All right. The inferior man rejects femininity. And this is not necessarily an incel, because this man can be active, physically active with women. But he rejects femininity. A masculine man likes women. I could put that as a reel right there. It's going to be a problem. Trust me. A masculine man likes women. A feminine woman likes men, just to even it out so we can all be very clear. A feminine woman likes men. A masculine man likes women. Hello? Like, it's weird that we even have to say it, but a masculine man likes women. Hear me, y'all. Come on, come here. He embraces her femininity. Did you hear the word embrace? Not tolerates. Y'all, you weirdos. It's weird to feel like you're tolerating a woman or tolerating a man's masculinity, tolerating a woman's femininity. Like, you have a problem. If you feel like you gotta like a man's being a man and you're like, oh, I wish he wouldn't. A woman's being a woman, you're like, God damn, I wish she would just be more like a man. Men are like, women aren't logical enough. But you also identify logic as like this masculine thing. You want women to act like men, but you want to have physical connection with her like a woman, but you want her emotions to be like a man. You have a problem. You got a problem. Like, you're genuinely confused. You might even be sincerely confused. You might be totally genuinely like, I really thought that this was how I was supposed to be. Because you're here, especially if you're hearing things like hearing things from a particular type of man. And he's teaching you how to be a certain way rather than teaching you like masculinity and like manhood. He's teaching you how to be a certain way, not necessarily a man though. Okay, because masculine men like women. feminine women like men. Feminine women like masculine men like feminine women. I mean, how much? I mean, do I need to get more specific? So what did I say? He embraces her femininity and learns and understands his relationship or role to it. We have a lot of inferior men that put their ego on, talk through their ego, and essentially take a stance like she needs to learn me. She needs to I don't have to figure her out. Men run this. And that's their mentality. That women have to get on their program in such a way that he doesn't have to be concerned about who she is. That's a better way to put it. Maybe I should say women who they want women to get on his program. He wants a woman to get on his program, but he doesn't want to understand how she was programmed. He doesn't want to understand her programming as a woman. So a masculine man doesn't reject femininity. He embraces femininity. And now I know I'm going to say this for the record because y'all are going to see it in the reels coming up. You're going to see it. Men are going to be like, you can't tell men what to do, but you want women to listen to men about how to be with a man. But when a woman's talking about how to be with a woman, it's a problem. You're my problem. You're the man I'm talking about. You're the issue. You're my problem. Matter of fact, just go. I'm saying this for somebody that's going to listen to this. Just go. Just go. This is not for you. You thought I was one thing. I'm not. And y'all, again, I'm spending this time this season to just lay this out. But next season, we're not going back and forth about this at all. Like, if you can't even get this basic frame, I'm really not for you. We're going to spend some time laying it out. And now in the next phase, we just have to go. A masculine man likes women. A masculine man likes feminine women in particular. He embraces her femininity. He learns and understands his relationship, his role to her femininity. He doesn't try to crush it. We've got a lot of people, men, that we see that are trying to crush women's emotions. It's like, we shouldn't be worried about women's emotions, but you want women to be you want women to be emotional when it comes to loving and being affectionate towards you. Right? But when she has emotions about any old thing, she's still a woman. Women are women. Men are men. I mean, goodness gracious. That's like the most groundbreaking thing of 2024, 2025. Women are women. Men are men. Women are going to be like women. Men are going to be like men. Surprise, surprise. We're not going to try to make women like men and be like, just be logical, just be rational. Y'all hear me on this being incredibly grounded and logical and rational and highly emotionally intelligent. I'm aware. You think that this is me 24/7 in my relationship? Hell no. I'm like, you need to come on here and tell y'all. It ain't like that every second, every day. This is a very particular tone. This is my work, my purpose. This is one thing. This is not my relationship. I'm in a relationship with a man. He's in a relationship with a woman. It's just, we should not even have to do all this. But since we're talking about men, let me stay focus on the inferior man here, okay, and not go too broad. The inferior man wants to eliminate or greatly reduce a woman's femininity, which includes her emotional life. Femininity isn't the way that someone looks. It's not the way that someone dresses. Now, it can manifest in those ways, but that's not what it is. Do y'all understand this difference? The manifestation of something, the way it appears in the world, and the essence of something are two different things. They're related, but they're not the same. So femininity isn't a look. It's not a tone. I can't tell you how many masculine women I have talked to, but their tone is so sweet. Their tone is so sweet. So femininity is an essence. It's not a particular manifestation. Okay? It's not one look. So the essence of femininity includes, among other things, I'm just going to focus on this one in particular because this one thing in particular seems to be the most villainized by the inferior man. Her emotions, her emotional life is a part of her femininity, just like the logical life, the rational life is a part of masculinity, and a very important part. So we don't try to reduce a woman's emotional life. Now, what she does need to do is manage her emotional life, regulate her emotional life, put her emotional life under her direction to the best of her ability. Just like a man needs to put his masculine life, his logic, his rationale under his direction. He can't, if his logical life prevents him from being able to make space for the emotional life, it's not under his control and his direction. He has to direct and manage his masculine life, his masculine essence, so that he's not and that's one example how he deals with emotions. Another example is how he's going to be in the workplace. If masculine men, do y'all hear me? If masculine men did what their nature told them to do at work, we'd have a whole lot more broke people because people are going to be out of a job fast. It would be chaos, destruction. It would be very, very bad. So a man's masculine essence and a woman's feminine essence are these unbound, powerful things that need to be managed in relationship in order to relate in a balanced and healthy way with each other. We'll pause that right there. A woman should not be dysregulated and irresponsible with her emotion. Just because you have an emotional life doesn't mean you have emotional free reign. Okay? Same thing goes for men. Okay? But a woman is emotional. So again, this villainizing of women's emotions is a fundamental issue with the inferior man. Does all of that make sense, y'all? Does all of that make sense? I'm going to share with you where these guys come from and a bit of a solution, and then we're going to go. These men come from both single parent homes and two parent homes. They can come from both. So that's why I want to highlight the two parent home issue, the way that it shows up in a two parent home. Because listen, I get I get issues around single parenthood. I have talked about it over years. I have talked about it. You might have just got here. I have talked about this over years. Okay. So I'm going to highlight how this shows up from a two parent home. Because again, people have this tendency to think in a dichotomous way. This one's good and this one's bad. And there's no way that good could come from the single parent or that bad could come from the two parent. And it's too simplified of a way of thinking. I will also say, for the record, I absolutely believe that a two parent household is better than a single parent household. This is just a fact. We know that outcomes are better in every area, educationally, psychologically, financially. Two-parent household is better than a single-parent household. I'm not talking to you about your parent who was a substance abuse user or a DV person or incarcerated or whatever. I'm not talking about we're talking about in general as a fundamental fact, not all of your context and anecdotal evidence. As a fundamental fact, a two-parent household is better off than a single parent household. This is one of these things. I'm taking the time to outline this in this season. Next season, we're not going. This is just a truth. And if you don't think it's true, if you got to keep fighting that, no, it's equal. No, single parents are better. No, it's no difference. I am not for you. So these men can come from both. The inferior man can come from both single parent homes and two parent homes. And two parent homes, I want to highlight this one, because we talk a whole lot about single parent stuff. Let's talk about two parents. In two parent homes, watch out for these two things. Number one, the father, come on. I can just feel the Arthur fist with the inferior men just clenching up right now. Don't talk about my dad. The father was overly aggressive and competing with his son to dominate him. Yeah. Okay. Where do we get a two parent? Where from a two parent home? Watch out for these two things. I'm not saying these are the only two. I'm going to give you these two though. Number one, the father was overly aggressive and competing with his son to dominate him, to prove his power in the house. Number two, the father was overly passive and he conceded to the mother. This is the happy wife, happy life. It's not good way to live. Happy wife, happy life, no matter what. She's no pushback. No, your voice is not heard. You're not asserting yourself. Okay? And you're definitely not in control. You're definitely not, in a better way, less triggering word, definitely not leading. All right, so he's conceding. So the son either gets put down by the domineering dad or ignored by the conceding dad rather than empowered as a developing man. In either of these situations, the son does not get an accurate reflection of himself through the father. So all of this stuff, so this stuff starts in the house. Okay. Obviously, there's a whole lot more we could say about that, but we got to go. This stuff starts in the house and it's nurtured by society who seems to want to snip men through punishing you out of your empowered masculinity. So we get a bunch of inferior men. Not that you are inferior by like who you are, like your inherent value as a person, but it's the way you see yourself and then the way society then sees you as inferior. But it first starts with how you see you. Your self-esteem, your self-concept is fragmented. Okay, you've been minimized in your own mind. We have an inferior man problem. And we're gonna see when I start posting these reels, the denial, and how angry men are gonna get. You're gonna see men get so mad that I'm putting this out there, especially because of the last two episodes. They thought it was going to be one thing. They thought this was going to be one thing. They thought we were going in one direction and we about to swing this thing back to center. You're going to see men get so pissed. Right now, they're on my reels like, watch out for the women. You can't talk about their wigs. Yeah, but watch when I start talking about your self-esteem. Watch when I start talking about your self-esteem. They're going to look just like those women, because it's not a gender issue. It's a mentality. It's your self-concept. It's the way you see yourself and how you see yourself in the world. This is not a gender problem. This is a type of person that when they are confronted with the reality of the deficiencies, they become angry, or disconnected, both. All right, they'll have a negative, dysfunctional reaction rather than integrating the information, the truth or the reality. Rather than integrating it, they will reject it. They are just as bad as the women, as those types of women. Do you hear me? You are just as bad as those types of women. And we are going to separate those men and women from us. We're going to separate. What are some solutions? Well, my man, Austin, he coaches men. He has a men's group. I recommend that you go to him. His Instagram is at I am Coach Austin Walker. I recommend you go to him. He's got groups. He does one-on-ones. Go to him. You know, for one-on-ones, I work with both men and women. Both men and women can help you in certain areas. I think that you do need to be open up to who has the solution and not be like, it's got to be a man or it's got to be a woman. I think you should be open to who has the solution. I do believe that a strong masculine male figure is best for developing a man. Okay, as in manhood. That's best to do with a man. That's not me. I am really good at helping men understand what to do with women, or like, and where their issues come from and how to correct some of those behaviors. But I'm not helping you to be a man. Okay, I do think that a strong masculine male figure is best for that. have helped a lot of men do a lot of things. And if you're not sure whether I'm the best person to help you or not with what you need in particular, you can fill out the form in my bio and we'll talk about it on a consult. I'm very honest about what I can and can't do and what you can expect from me. So there's that. I'm really good with helping men understand like what's happened in their relationships, where they've gone wrong, what's going on with women in their life right now, and understanding your past. But if you want to learn how to be a man, I think you need to do that with a man. I recommend you go to Austin at I am Coach Austin Walker. I have an email list growing for people who are of this mind, y'all, of these values. It's called Preferred Option. It's in the link in my bio. Subscribe to my YouTube and stay tuned for more talk on solutions, especially going into next season. We've got a couple more episodes on this one, and then we need to move on. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye. Bye. See you.